You have it's like such a really good cast, but it's such a just really not good movie. But it's so bad that it's good. Event Horizon again,
Oof.
27%. It's a travesty. It's always going to be on one of my horror lists because it is so good. And then I had to round it out with something just completely ridiculous, which was Dracula 2000. So there is my list. We have Evil Dead, House of a Thousand Corpses, Island of Dr. Moreau, the remake, Event Horizon, and then Dracula 2000.
Okay, I'm going to take Fright Night 2011.
Nice.
I love that remake. I adore it. I'll take...
The only reason my wife wanted to watch that movie was because of David Tennant.
So good.
Moving on.
So good. All right. I'll take that. I'll take Ravenous from 1999.
Yes.
All right. I'll take my 190-plus movie that wasn't on the rules is Green Room, which is one of the all-time horror classics for me.
That's on my list to watch later this week. People have been talking about it since it came out. Again, I have to pick my moments with horror movies. Since it's now on streaming, I'm going to be watching it this week, and I'll probably give you a text right afterwards being, "Oh my God, why did I wait so long?"
It's mind-blowing, man. Like, it's... Okay, with Green Room, so we'll have an episode released by the time this comes out, so you can go back and listen to it, but it just hits so hard, and you like the characters, and I don't know, there's a big talk, like some people, there's no dumb decisions, because everyone is everyone's in so over their heads that, and you never expect the violence that follows, that you can't just be like, oh, that was a stupid move. Does that make sense? And I got really mad when someone wrote an article about it, like, no, and I was like, oh man, I'm so mad. All right, so.
Would you say that it's kind of, in the reasonings that you gave, it reminded me of Cheap Thrills, that you like the characters?
Yes.
Level of violence you don't like, it's kind of similar.
Yeah, it hurts. It's violence that hurts, and it's real. Oh man, it's so good.
Because I love Cheap Thrills, a movie you actually bought me one of the last times that you were in town, and we went to the Draft House.
Blu-ray vending machine.
From a Blu-ray vending machine, yeah, and I loved it. So I will, 100%. You're just securing Green Room as being a must-view for me later on this week. I keep interrupting you, Mark. I apologize. Continue your wonderful list.
I can't take any more from the 2010s, and so I have one from the 90s. I'll do Scream 2, because I love Scream 2. That's one of my favorite slasher sequels ever. It really is. I love Scream 2. So I have Green Room, Fright Night, Ravenous, Scream 2, and then I will take... I gotta see when this movie was released.
He's got plans, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes!
It may be dashed.
Oh. Jason X.
Oh, gosh.
I have a remake. I have a sequel.
How can he slow walk and stalk in zero gravity? That's my question.
Oh, and also, go to YouTube and type in Film Theorists. And once you get there, I came up with a video about how I debunked his teleporting in all of the movies.
I was wondering if that's what you're going to say.
And it has 1.3 million views already. So head over.
Oh my goodness.
So head over to Film Theorists. I wrote it. Matt Pat narrates it. But so watch that video. I wrote it about Jason Voorhees and his teleporting.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mark. After tonight, it's going to have 1,300,001 views. Okay? So I'm going to watch it as soon as we're done.
It's so good. I love putting it together, man. So we got this. All right, so how about this? Let's do something, since we'll go back to the prophecy.
Okay.
Let's do our...
Oh, God, do we have to? We got away from it. We have to go back?
Let's do our 3 favorite moments from...
Before we get to that, I want to ask you something. How would you classify this movie? What genre would you put this movie into?
Oh, well, it would... so you're at a Blockbuster.
Okay.
And you're walking around. Mm-hmm. There was never a thriller section in Blockbuster, was there?
I don't think so. See, I grew up in a very small town in Minnesota, so we didn't have Blockbuster. We had Mr. Movies.
Got it.
So I have to throw my experience onto Mr. Movies.
I don't remember a thriller section. So for me, this would be in the horror section.
I think I would agree. Even though we agree, I don't think that either Hollywood or especially IMDb knew what to give this genre throw us into. So IMDb just gave it everything. They put it under action. They put it under crime because detectives. They put it under drama because why not? They put it under fantasy. They have horror, they have mystery, and they have thriller. And I'm a little surprised. They didn't put romance, just because you mentioned the Koteas Virginia Madsen head kisses. That's something that I had written down that we didn't touch on, so I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that no one knew what they were getting into with this movie.
Yeah, that's funny you said that. There's 7 labels to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just, but I do think you watch this, right? And this comes out. This is a product of Dimension Films, which was the Weinstein Corporation at the time, and there's not enough action in it to be. This is kind of an adult picture, like not like triple X.
I mean, I hope kids don't want to go see it.
It tries to stick to these very. It's a weird movie that it begins like a very noir Fallen-esque film. And then it kind of devolves into a crime, Pulp Fiction-esque movie with some of the dialogue.
It changes themes. Yeah, you think it's going to be this like super heavy, like heavy religious, and there's going to be like all these things going on. And even in one of the first scenes with Stoltz, where the Tommy Wiseau angel shows up and launches through the window, which I think very hilariously what his counterattack to that was, oh, I smell an angel. He's going to come through the window. I'm just going to throw myself at the same window. That, like, is it going to be an action movie? Is it going to be like a lot of fighting? And it just is, I mean, honestly, I don't know what I would categorize it at, because it's not real. I don't know if I would say horror, because it's not really scary.
No. It just has the occult themes, I guess.
It's this weird conundrum. Like, I would probably put it under, like kind of like thriller, crime, mystery. Like that's probably what I would say the most.
Yeah, I guess. But then if someone watches it and has the occult themes, I bet they would be mad. Would you say?
Well, I think arguably anyone that watches this movie may be a little angry. So,
do you think? Okay, $8 million budget. Walken gets 3, 4 because. There's really not much production design in this movie. There's not the cinematography. There's 2 different cinematographers that worked on it. So, I mean,
costumes, big thing. Like, effects weren't a big thing. Location scouting. I mean, like, I don't think they really had to like build anything other than the huts at the very.
Yeah, they had to blow up the one mobile home.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we're going back to dogging on it, but this is what I think happens, and this is something worth teaching in film school. So I teach school. Well, we should do Legion next.
Ooh, that'd be a fun one.
Right.
I thought that essentially your draft was like heaven hell movies. So I tried to have a couple in mind before coming into this.
I always mess with people. They're always like, "I thought you would draft this," and I'm like, I did a draft the other day, and someone was like, "I was 100% certain you were going to draft this movie." I'm like, "Wait, what?" I like messing with people. But yeah, so, yeah, all right. So before we get to our favorite parts, I just think $8 million budget, which is decent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it was a director who had heat, an actor with a lot of popular actor, but they went in without an incomplete script. And the first-time director, his inexperience showed. It was one thing having Ron Howard direct Backdraft, and it's another him coming in to direct this script. So, I bet you now he wishes, hey man, I wish that I had a finished script on this, because the talent was there, and the moments are there, which we can end with. But yeah, I mean, at the end, I just think it got lost somewhere. I really do. But I can see how it's a cult classic, because it's weird, and it's tonally odd, and it cuts a great trailer. There's enough kind of occult religious themes, new kind of themes, Viggo's performance to relate. But I don't know. I hate after the fact things, so I'm not really going to talk about what would make it better. I hate those. This is people get 3 million views by saying how the ending could be better on the movie.
What I would have done.
Yeah.
Like who the hell am I? Yeah, exactly.
And even if it's brilliant, it's kind of just thinking you weren't there on set dealing with this. This guy was probably sweating bullets making this movie because he didn't have the script. I mean, I just think you could have lost Goldberg, consolidate a little bit more. You don't need the monkeys to talk about. Make it just, like he said, like a Christian Terminator, a theological Terminator, and make it urgent. That's where I would have gone. But let's do our top 3 parts. So I'm going to say, oh goodness, I'm gonna say when Viggo yells at his little thing,
Growls at
because
him.
it's just like they probably spend all their time together,
Mm-hmm.
and they just yell at each other. And the devil is like, "Shut up!" I bet he was like, "You always do this to me," but in a roar.
Mm-hmm.
That's
What do you think? What do you think that guy's voice was like? Because I hear it like a oh my god, like Princess Bride, like he's going through and saying like, oh, God, like inconceivable, that's never gonna work. It's like shut your mouth.
Yeah.
That's Vicini. That's what I think. That's what I think is gonna be it. Yeah, I hear that.
Right. So that's my one of my favorite scenes. What's yours?
One of my absolute favorites is walking on the steps of the school with the kids.
And the trumpet.
Like trying to look in their mouths, like you got the soul, and like trying to figure out different ways to how can I look in your mouth without it being creepy. Like, oh, the trumpet was hilarious, and like, oh yeah, you get a candy, let me see, nothing in there, okay. It was just like such a walking thing, like surround them with children and just let them go.
When Stoltz though passes that to that little girl, you're like,
yeah, that was, yeah,
little less, but
not my favorite,
nope.
my favorite part.
So, and then I guess the second one I would have to say is the first. I like when Walken walks into the mortuary, the morgue, and does his and he does his sassy shuffle, and lights him on fire, does the flick. I mean that's I'll give him that. I'll do that. That's my second favorite.
They also never explained what, like, the little vial that he had that he, like, placed on him. Like, what was that? Like, again, so many questions that they never touched on again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did he need to do that to, like, make sure he went on fire? Doesn't matter. He's an angel. He should have just set him on fire. It was something very small, but it was one of the things that stood out more to me because with all the things they could have touched on and elaborated on that they didn't, this one hit for me. With Adam Goldberg, it was, I think, around the time where he was on the steps with the kids, because Goldberg was this kind of deteriorating corpse. At one point, he was just sitting there and like going through and coughing or something. He just like wiped something from his nose, and this like big long like trail of goo came out that was probably like either brain or like something else of his body.
Oh yeah.
Slung it down, and Walken was like, "Oh, don't pay mind to that, or don't listen to that." It was just something small, but like, how long has he kept this body around that was slowly necrosing, and then all of a sudden, big section comes out, and he had to throw it. So I love that part.
It needed more of that, this movie.
Absolutely.
Weirdness.
Yeah.
All right, so I got to pick my favorite part of this movie. I've already brought up Viggo. I mean, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Where Viggo walks up to Koteas and just sort of gives him a cuddle and just starts speaking into his ear. And it's a oneer. There's no coverage on it. They probably had no time. Mm-hmm. There's really no. He just walks up behind him, puts his arm around him, and just kind of says, "Hey, man, like you got faith." And he gives him a little hint before he goes into battle. Yeah. With Walken, it's a oneer. Mm-hmm. Just leaves the camera, no motion, no coverage, and he just sort of knocks. And then what I love the most is when after he's done giving Koteas advice, he just kind of ducks out real fast behind him. And so, I'm the devil. But yeah, so that's my favorite. It's just watching that oneer.
Well, I feel like I have to end with a Viggo too, and it's something that I mentioned earlier in the recording, is just how his demeanor completely changed after the threat was gone, after Gabriel was out of it, and he took a big bite of the heart, and then wanted to like take his friends back to hell with him. It was just such a change in character that you would see. Come on, guys. He looked sad. He's like, I want you to come home with me. He was like almost like not begging, because that's not what Lucifer would do, but he was like so hopeful, and it's something that he wanted and desired himself, which is like, I'm going to grant you your, he's in the business of granting desires and promising these big things in order to get souls. And for him to show like, I want you, and kind of showing that almost semi-vulnerable portion, which is how I took it. I just thought it was a different way to take that character. So that was one of my favorite moments in the movie.
He looks at the two of them. He's like, let's go to the mall. It's the two of them and his little demon guy.